morning, good afternoon, good evening. ZANU-PF is going to have its conference this weekend. It will be held in Mutare. And the party is obsessed about pushing the ED2030 agenda. It is amazing how desperate both Mnangagwa and his cronies are to push that agenda. What is ED2030? Simple. They want Mnangagwa to stay as president until 2030, by hook or by crook. And they haven't said how they're going to do it, but the determination and resolve is undeniable. Here is what Garwe had to say the other day on the issue.
The Vision 2030 is unstoppable. Comrade Mundal Sataloloka, Chikumbiro Chang, Kutidai Matauran Banam Business Omunu, Mugazire Vanoruya Conference, Matisha Salem Soba President, Akanyo about Vision 2030 is unstoppable. Kutaura nemuro mutanyanya takuda kunyora kangoenga keka kuerenga
This is laughable. Ben.
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. Now with sometimes with ZANU-PF, it's they never cease to amaze. They will go to all manner of length just to keep hold of power, such to an extent of trying to convince themselves that change is is inevitable. They really think that they will go on and on until the donkeys grow horns, but that is not the case. And we are let's look at what exactly is happening on the ground, especially with this whole ED2030 movement. We are seeing a government that has been bribing everybody to make this thing go through. They have even been giving $2,000 to organizations that for EDs, the Mawindis for EDs, they got given 22,000. Cross borders for EDs 2,000. And as you go into more structured organizations, you have been seeing them giving them cars, women's league cars, it's everybody is getting paid just to push their agenda. And it reminds me when you were always saying that during the election itself, Mnangagwa used up a cool 1 billion just to get himself through the next 5 years. He had to be bribing everybody, and we saw that because he paid every MP, he paid judges, he paid ministers, everybody. This is how ZANU-PF does their business. Pay everybody so that you continue doing whatever you need, to get done?
Well, what I find interesting here is the fact that ZANU-PF itself officially insists that this is a conference, not a congress, and therefore then succession is not on the agenda. Here is the ZANU-PF official trying to explain, to untangle that contradiction.
Generality of Zimbabweans, succession is dealt with at Congress. We are not going to Congress. We have Congress in 2027. We are going to a conference. And the issue of succession is not an issue within ZANU-PF. If you look, most of the purveyors of this succession issue are known not to be members of ZANU-PF. They are known not to be within the structures of ZANU-PF. So as ZANU-PF, we will not allow a conversation to be imported into the party. We are going to conference to continue with checking up on the mandate which we received from the people in 2023. We all know that the issue is the economy. The people of Zimbabwe voted for President Mnangagwa so that he could continue taking Zimbabwe on a positive economic trajectory. And this is what we will be focused on. Resolution number 1 actually speaks to the fact that succession is not yet a conversation, because resolution number 1 speaks to the perpetuation of the current. So you cannot perpetuate the current and talk of succession at the same time. So if anything, resolution number 1 states that there is no succession conversation within ZANU-PF, because resolution number 1 speaks to the perpetuation of the current.
The interesting thing about it is trying to deny that ED2030 is about succession. Because if you push resolution number 1 and the party does everything in its power to make sure that that happens, then come 2028 or 2027, when you have the Congress, the matter will already be settled. The party has already succeeded in securing the position for Mnangagwa to stay in power until 2030. So that Congress succession will not be an issue. It's already been dealt with. The party itself, Mnangagwa himself, is not focused on the economic development of the country. All these millions of dollars he's spending on bribing party committee members, central committee members, the Women's League, the army. This is all meant to buy him their support, to support the agenda of ED 2030. This has nothing to do with the economy. The economy has been put on the back burners. We have talked about how the country's health system has all but collapsed. We've talked of how hospitals, even provincial hospitals, do not have ambulances or medicine. And yet, the regime is pouring millions of dollars buying cars to buy ZANU or Mnangagwa support so that everybody buys into this ED 2030. This is what we are talking about here. And so to try to deny that that is what the party is obsessed about is as meaningless as some of the classical cases like uh, Saddam Hussein's chemical ally, maintaining that the Iraqi war was winning, when in fact the Allies were already in Baghdad. ZANU PF is desperate to hang on to power. Like I said, the only thing that is unstoppable in life is change. You cannot stop change. At best, you can delay it, but you can never stop it. And so, if ZANU PF think that ED 2030 is unstoppable, and there is a note of desperation in those who are saying it, it is clear they themselves know that change is coming. They fear change and they can feel it. That as much as they try to hang on to power to make sure that Mnangagwa stays in power, that is becoming increasingly untenable. I believe we are seeing the beginning of change in Zimbabwe. ZANU PF, as much as they will try to hang on, Mnangagwa, as much as he's trying to hang on, he knows that he cannot stop change. Change is coming, and we welcome it.
No, one thing we have to look at, and which I think is very important, is we have been in this position before. There has been factional battles within ZANU PF. We remember we had the Lacoste and the G40. This is exactly the play that is taking place, where one side is always trying to silence the other. What they're saying is we're not going to be talking about the succession, but we are going to be talking about, extending. That is, a debate that, the other battle is saying you cannot do that. And the other, side is saying we are going to do that. So obviously it's going to be a clash of the titans to say, how can you keep, shut us up whilst you are going against the constitution and so forth and so forth. But the important thing here is that this battle here, for me, I believe there's really nothing positive that will come out of ZANU PF fighting ZANU PF. I don't think it is our position to take sides, to say, I will go with this faction or that faction. Both these are our arch enemies. These guys are the same guys that have destroyed our country. They have been there since the beginning. They saw the rot from the beginning and they kept quiet and they enjoyed and they pampered themselves. So we cannot all of a sudden forgive them or start choosing a better devil because they have a fight amongst themselves. Zimbabwe needs proper change. And that proper change can only be addressed once we are able to hold free, fair, and credible elections, to choose for ourselves a candidate that is fit to take us from this mess, not to be forced to choose between ZANU PF and ZANU PF. That is not a choice that we can have. And I think we need to think along those lines if we really want change at some point.
I think one of the things that must be said here is that as much as Mnangagwa and his cronies have fought hard to put resolution number 1 on the party agenda, we all know how easily that agenda was abandoned when Blessed Geza and his friends dismissed it as bullshit in January. That sent Mnangagwa into panic mode, and hence his drive to bribe the war veterans to win back their support. That seemed to have worked while he was going around giving them presents. For most of them, all they ever got was a bicycle. The other big players got a lot more. But it is ironic that we are giving somebody who is 60 years, 70 years, 80 years a bicycle. In 2008, ZANU-PF depended on the war veterans in its Operation Mavotera Papi. I do not think that the party can seriously believe that the war veterans will be campaigning and coercing the populace to support ED2030 on their bicycles. So in terms of who are the foot soldiers to push this unstoppable ED2030, my opinion is that they have no foot soldiers at all. The regime has tried to court other groups, notably Apostle, to some level of success. But I think many people have seen that most of these groups are led by corrupt, incompetent, and greedy individuals who care about nothing else but their own selfish needs. Give them a piece of chicken, some of those leaders, they forget that the real change that is required in Zimbabwe is a change of good governance. All they can think about is the chicken. Sapatina, Sapatina. Well, if ZANU-PF seriously believe that Sapatina, Sapatina and Mazbaba are going to push Agenda 2030, there's something else coming. So in conclusion, I repeat what I said before. The only unstoppable thing in this world is change. ED 2030 will not stop change. Never. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.